So what do we have here? The venerable Simpson 260. I purchased this back in 2007 with this nifty orange padded travel case, and it is really padded. The Simpson 260 has been around forever, and it's an analog meter, and this thing was about $278 plus the case was about $295 back in 2007, and it's the one with the circuit protection. So we're going to do a Simpson 260, which everybody knows, versus the DMMCheck Plus version 8 or Rev 8. But this particular model, the 260, has been around since the 30s. I mean, this was a World War II era. If you went to school in the military for electronics, you were taught the Simpson 260. I was in the military in the 80s and 90s, and they taught the Simpson 260. Today, Simpson Electric has moved from Chicago, Illinois to Fort Mill, South Carolina, and they are still manufacturing the Simpson 260. It was originally in Bakelite, and it's still in Bakelite. The printing is embossed in here. The internals are wired point to point. It has gold-plated wafer switches. This is a machine. These guys were radiusing the corners before the Apple iPhone was even thought of. And it is just a beautiful meter. They're rugged, dependable, and the analog gauge will tell you a lot more than a digital gauge if you know how to use it. So let's compare and see how it does, and we'll run it up against the DMMCheck Plus. Oh, one more thing. This is the park position. You notice there's not an off switch on here anywhere. And the manual tells you to put it in DC plus, the small knob here, your selector switch, and the large switch, your value switch to the 10 volt setting. So this is parked how you would leave it when you put it away. Here I've taken the top rear cover off so you can see the 9 volt battery on the right, the 1.5D cell on the left, and in between are the two fuses. There's a 2 amp and a 1 amp that are behind this little metal tab. Here's the back with the cover taken off. You can see 4 adjustment potentiometers, some really nice precision resistors, and those wafer switches I was talking about. This is the last shot of the inside. It's looking up from the bottom just to give you an idea of the quality of the build. This unit was calibrated in 2017, and it hasn't been calibrated since, and it does get used a couple times a month. So we're on the DC setting. It's switched on. I've got external power plugged into it, and I'm on the 0 to 10 volt scale, which is right here, 0 to 10, and it should be right in the middle, and it's measured on this tick mark here, and you can see under the parallax mirror that it is dead centered. So 5 volt scale is good. For best accuracy, the manual says to stand it up like this. I don't notice any difference at all. It's plus or minus 2% scale. I've never noticed any difference. It's just more convenient to lay it down so that you can see it better while you're working. Alright, so that's DC. Let's go to AC volts. Now, the Simpson takes an RMS value of a pure sine wave. So it will not read 5 volts square wave. It is not going to give me 5.0. It's going to give me just below 6 volts probably on the 6 volt scale. So here we go. I'm on the 0 to 10 again. I've set it to AC volts, and here is 5 volts, not quite 6 volts on the scale. So it's a little bit high, but that's because the DMMCheck Plus is giving it a square wave. This is not a true RMS meter, even though it's calibrated on AC scale from a pure sine wave to read RMS. It's not a true RMS meter. Okay, so the DC voltages go from 2.5 or 250 millivolts to 1,000 volts. With these meters, you can move the leads around. If I was going to measure AC volts or DC volts up to 1,000, I could go and plug the probe into a different setting. It will do decibels. I've never done decibels. It will do DC current, but it will not do AC current. So we'll get it set it up. We'll set it up for DC current and see how it does there. Okay, so let's do DC amps. This does not have AC amps. It only does DC amps, and it'll go up to 10 amps DC. Its range is 50 microamps to 10 amps DC current. So to set up the DMMCheck Plus, I make sure I'm on DC. I'm going to hook into the current setting, and I want to make sure that I'm on 1 milliamp selection here. Sorry about the glare. And it should give me full deflection all the way over to this 10, which is going to mean 1 for us. So I'm going to hook it in and then watch that really nice sweep, that deflection. So love the analog movement. Nice sweep all the way over to the 1. And let's see if it's still accurate on the 10 milliamp scale. It should go to this first tick mark over here. And yeah, right on. Very good. So the DC amps is working just fine on this older Simpson 260. Next we'll go to resistance and see how that does. For resistance, we're going to stay on the DC plus setting. I'll go to the lowest resistance setting here, R times 1. And on this scale, I'm going to measure our 100 ohm resistor. So it should go to the 100 right there and stop. So let's see how it does. I've turned off power to the DMMCheck Plus. I'm on passives now. So I'm going to hit the 100 ohm resistor right there. And our movement is right at 100. Back it up, take it off, watch it go to 100. Great. It's at 100. We'll move it to the 1000 setting. And see that switch it down, R times 100. So 10 times 100 is 1,000. And so here we are at the 10. And it is almost spot on. It's a little higher from my viewpoint here. That's with the 1K. We'll go to the 10K setting. Move it up again. And at 10K, oh, you know what I forgot to do? With these analog movements, you need to zero out the ohms each time. So let's do that right now. Let's zero out our ohms. And all we do for that is hook the leads together. So I'm just going to hook these two leads together. Use the 0 and zero out the needle. So you can see what it does. It moves it a little bit. But that gives you your best accuracy. So I'm just zeroing out the meter. Okay, let's see what happens at the 0 to 10 at the 10K setting. So on ohms, I'm down to 10K times 1, just over 1. So that's the 10K setting. Pretty close. And the last setting that's got is 100K, so it should bring me up to the 10. So we'll move this over to the 100 here. And where are we? Yep, right there at the 10. So it's accurate on resistance, and the resistance goes up to 20 mega ohms on this unit. So that's as high as this will read, is 20 mega ohms. Another thing to note, as it gives you 20,000 ohms per volt when you're measuring DC. So if you're using these to measure in-circuit values, it's only going to give you 20,000 ohms per volt, which is good. It's not great. It's not like the modern digital multimeters. I would not use this so much for troubleshooting internal circuits as I would checking power systems. Like, is my generator working? Are my wall sockets working? What's the internal resistance of my ground fault? Things like that. This is more of a utility type meter. And that's about everything that it will do. DC voltage up to 1,000 volts, AC voltage up to 1,000 volts. It does decibels, it does DC current, and it does resistance. And it does it very well, and it does it with this beautiful analog movement. And this is the Simpson 260-8P for circuit protection.